My dad used my savings to buy my sister a new car. She needs it now, and you'll earn more, he said. I didn't say anything and moved. This morning I woke up to 25 missed calls. I was on the beach, the sun setting in the distance, my friend Emily laughing beside me as we sipped overpriced cocktails. It was the first real vacation I'd had in years, and I finally felt like I could breathe. Then my phone buzzed. I glanced at the screen, expecting some random notification, but instead I saw a bank alert. $55,000 withdrawn. At first I thought it was a mistake. Maybe a glitch. But then my stomach sank as reality set in. That was my money. The money I had saved for years to buy my first apartment. And there was only one possibility: my parents. They had access to my bank account. I had given it to them a long time ago, thinking, they're my parents. I trust them. If anything ever happened to me, they'd be able to handle my finances. But I had made it clear only to use it for emergencies or something really important. I felt like I couldn't breathe. My fingers shook as I dialed my father's number. It rang, and rang, and rang. No answer. I called again. Nothing. Emily noticed my change in demeanor and asked what was wrong, but I couldn't even answer her. I called again. Again. After 10 minutes of silence, my dad finally picked up. What happened? He said casually, as if I had called to chat about the weather. I didn't even say hello. Why did you take $55,000 out of my account? There was a pause. Then, as if I had just asked him what he had for dinner, he said, "Oh, that? Your sister finally got a good job. She has to be there tomorrow, and we can't have her showing up at a prestigious place in a suit on a bus. So we withdrew the money and are going to buy her a new car. Bye." And he hung up. I just sat there staring at my phone. The sound of the waves, the chatter of the people around me, all faded into a dull hum. Emily put her hand on my arm and asked what had happened. When I told her, her eyes widened in disbelief. She tried to calm me down, but I couldn't stay there. There was no way I was going to sit on that beach and pretend everything was fine while my parents used my life savings to buy my sister a car. The vacation was over. That night I booked the first flight back to the States. We were supposed to stay 4 more days, but I couldn't wait. Emily understood, but I could tell she was disappointed. Still, she didn't argue. The next morning, as soon as we landed, I didn't even take her home. I called her a cab, apologized, and told her I had to go. She nodded, told me to call her later, and left. Then I drove straight to my parents' house. And there in the driveway, gleaming in the morning sun, was a brand new car. And that was just the beginning. I pulled into the driveway and just sat there, gripping the steering wheel so hard my knuckles turned white. The brand new car shone in the sunlight like a slap in the face. My money. My life savings. Sitting there in the form of a luxury vehicle my sister didn't even need. I took a deep breath and got out. The front door was open and I could hear laughter from inside. My parents and sister were just hanging out like nothing had happened. Like they hadn't just robbed me blind. I walked in and my mom turned to me with a smile. "Oh, Ethan. You're home early. How was the trip?" I just stared at her. Was this a joke? Was she seriously acting like everything was normal? I looked at my dad, sipping his coffee like he didn't care. And then my sister, scrolling through her phone, not even looking up. "The trip?" I finally said. "You mean the trip I had to cut short because my own parents stole $55,000 from me?" My dad sighed and put down his cup. "Ethan, don't be dramatic. We didn't steal anything." I blinked. "You took my money without asking and bought my sister a car. How is that not stealing?" My sister finally looked up from her cell phone. "Relax, Ethan. I needed a car. You'll make more money." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I turned back to my dad. "So what? You thought I wouldn't care? You thought I wouldn't notice?" My dad shrugged. "We knew you'd notice eventually, but it was necessary. She has a great job opportunity, and it wouldn't look good if she showed up on the bus. I was so angry I could barely think straight. She doesn't even have the job yet, does she? Silence. I looked at my sister. She wouldn't meet my eyes. I laughed, but there was no humor in it. Unbelievable. You took my money for a car she doesn't even need yet. My dad waved his hand dismissively. She'll get it. Besides, we wanted to tell you. We just thought you'd understand. I turned and went back outside. I needed to think. I needed to breathe. But when I saw the car again, sitting there like a monument to their betrayal, I knew exactly what I was going to do. I turned back toward the house. I'm taking the car back. My sister shot up from the couch. What? My dad frowned. Ethan, don't be ridiculous. I'm serious. I said. I'm giving it back. Right now. And before they could stop me, I grabbed the keys off the counter and walked out the door. That's when all hell broke loose. Before I even got to the car, my sister came running after me, screaming my name as if I had just announced that I was selling her organs. My parents were right behind her. You can't take it, she yelled, grabbing my arm. Watch me, I said, shaking her off and unlocking the car. My dad stepped in front of me. Ethan, be reasonable. It's already paid for. It's done. I laughed. Oh yeah? With whose money? He sighed, rubbing his temples as if I were the one being difficult. Just let it go. You'll earn it back. Your sister needed it. I pushed past him and got in the driver's seat. My mom yelled something, but I didn't listen. I started the car, backed out of the driveway, and drove away. My heart was pounding. This wasn't how I imagined spending my first day back, but if they thought I was just going to roll over and take it, they were out of their minds. I went straight to the dealership. All the way there, my sister kept calling me. Then my mom. Then my dad. I ignored them all. As I pulled into the lot, I felt a small wave of relief. Maybe this would be easy. I'd explain the situation, return the car, get my money back, and be done with it. I walked in and found a salesman. I have to return this car. It was bought with my money without my permission. The guy frowned. All right, sir, do you have the bill of sale? I shook my head. No, my parents bought it. But it was with my money. I have the bank statement showing the withdrawal. He nodded slowly. Okay, let me check the system. What's the name on the purchase? I gave him my father's name. He typed for a moment, then stopped. His face changed. I didn't like that look. Sir, you're not the owner of the vehicle. I stared at him. What? He turned the screen a little so I could see. The car was registered to my sister. I felt like I had been punched in the gut. No. That's impossible. You bought it with my money. I understand, he said. But legally your sister is the owner. Only she can return it or sell it. I took a step back, my hands shaking. My parents hadn't just stolen from me, they'd made sure I couldn't even take the car back. My phone buzzed. My sister. Again. This time I answered. You registered the car in your name? She giggled. She really giggled. Duh. It's my car. I hung up. I couldn't even speak. I got back in the car and just sat there. My own family had tricked me. They took my money, bought a car, and made sure I had no legal claim to it. But they underestimated me. I took out my cell phone and started making calls. If they wanted to play dirty, I could play dirty. I sat in the driver's seat, gripping the steering wheel so tightly I thought it might break in half. My own parents had legally barred me from getting my money back. My sister's smug little giggle was still ringing in my ears. I wasn't going to let this go. I started making calls. First, my bank, maybe I could dispute the withdrawal. No luck. Since I had given my parents access, the transaction was technically authorized. Next, I called some friends to see if anyone knew a good lawyer. Most of them were as shocked as I was, offering sympathy but not much help. Finally, my friend Mark came through. I know a guy. Real aggressive. You'll like him. He sent me the number, and I didn't waste a second. I called right there in the dealership parking lot. The lawyer, Tom, picked up after 2 rings. Tell me everything, he said. I laid it all out, my parents taking my money, buying the car in my sister's name, locking me out of getting it back. Tom listened, then said, "This isn't just a civil case. This could be fraud." That got my attention. I put him on speakerphone and went to my parents' house. My mom, dad, and sister were sitting in the living room, probably expecting me to come back defeated. Instead, I leaned against the wall with my arms crossed and said, "Hey, Dad? Mom? Sis? Say hello to my lawyer." Their faces fell. Tom didn't waste any time. "Mr. and Mrs. Carter, your son has informed me of your recent unauthorized use of his funds. As it stands, this could constitute financial fraud, theft, and misrepresentation. If Ethan decides to press charges, you could be in serious legal trouble." Silence. Then my sister snapped. "He wouldn't do that. We're family." Tom laughed. "Family doesn't steal 55 grand. My dad cleared his throat. "Ethan, be reasonable. This is unnecessary." "No," I said, staring straight at him. "What's unnecessary is that you think I'm going to let this slide." Tom continued, "Well, we have options here. Ethan could take civil action, which would be expensive and public, or you could resolve this immediately. The car needs to be sold and the money returned, or we'll take legal action." My sister's face turned pale. My mother looked like she was going to cry. My father, for the first time, looked genuinely unsure. I let the silence drag on. Then I looked at them and said, "You're screwed." And I meant it. My dad crossed his arms. "We're not selling the car." Tom sighed on the phone. "All right. Ethan, I'll start drawing up the legal papers. This will go to court." My mom panicked. Wait. Let's talk about this." Tom didn't even acknowledge her. "Ethan, you need to document everything. Every text, every bank statement, every conversation. We need to prove intent." My sister jumped. "What does that mean?" I grinned. "It means I'm going to make your life very difficult." And then I walked out. I wasn't bluffing. I went straight to Emily's house. Her parents were there, and when they saw the anger on my face, they immediately sat me down. I told them everything. Emily's father, Mike, used to work in finance. He listened, nodded, then leaned back in his chair. "They think they're smart, but they're idiots." I looked at him. "What do you mean?" "They bought the car in your sister's name. But they used your money." I frowned. "Yes, that's the problem." "No," he said. "That's the solution." Then he told me exactly what to do. The next morning I was at the DMV when it opened. I asked for a record of the purchase of the vehicle. Since I had proof that my money had been used, I filed a fraud report. They flagged the car, which meant my sister couldn't sell it, transfer it, or do anything legal with it until the issue was resolved. Then I went to my bank and froze the rest of my account, preventing any further withdrawals from my parents. By that afternoon, I had filed a police report for unauthorized use of funds. I didn't press charges yet, but I made sure it was on the record. That's when my dad called. "You went to the police?" "Yes," I said, sipping my coffee. "And the DMV?" "Oh, and my bank." He lost it. "You're tearing this family apart over a car?" "No," I said. "You did that when you stole from me." My mom got on the phone and sobbed. "Ethan, please, we didn't think it would come to this." I almost laughed. "You mean you didn't think I would fight back?" Silence. Then my sister picked up the phone, her voice shaking. "You locked the car?" "Yup." She screamed like an infant. That's when I knew I had won. The next morning, my phone exploded. My dad, my mom, my sister, they were all calling and texting me nonstop. I ignored every single one of them. Then my sister sent me a text that actually made me laugh out loud. "You ruined my life. I can't even drive MY car anymore. Hope you're happy." I was very happy. But I wasn't done yet. Later that day I got a call from Tom, my attorney. They tried to transfer the car to another name this morning. I almost choked on my drink. What? Yeah. They probably thought they could just register it under your dad or mom instead. But since you filed that fraud suit, the DMV flagged it. They're stuck. I shook my head. They really think they can get around this. Oh, they're panicking, Tom said. I also got a call from a lawyer they hired. That got my attention. They have a lawyer? Yep. He wanted to see if we'd negotiate dropping the fraud suit. I laughed. Did you send him to a mental institution? Not exactly, but close. Things were moving fast for them, and I was enjoying every second of it. But then something happened I wasn't expecting. That night, Emily's dad, Mike, called me. Ethan, your dad just showed up at my house. I jumped out of my chair. What? He wants to talk to you. He looks defeated. I sighed. What did he say? He wants to meet. He says he wants to fix things. I rubbed my temples. After everything, after they tried to go behind my back again, now my dad wanted to talk? Mike's voice dropped. I don't trust him. But it's your decision. I exhaled slowly. I wasn't sure what my dad was up to, but one thing was clear: he was desperate. And I was about to find out why. I agreed to meet my father, but on my terms. No home field advantage for him. I told him to meet me at a coffee shop near Emily's house. Public place, neutral ground. He showed up looking 10 years older, as if the stress of the last few days had eaten away at him. He sat down, rubbed his face, and sighed. Ethan, this has gone too far. I sipped my coffee. No, it hasn't gone far enough. He shook his head. Your mother is a wreck. Your sister is in pieces. You really want to drag this through the courts? You want to destroy this family over a misunderstanding? I clenched my jaw. A misunderstanding? You stole 55 grand from me. We didn't steal it, he snapped, then immediately lowered his voice when a few people looked over. We just borrowed it. I scoffed. You registered the car in her name. That's not borrowing. That's making sure I could never take it back. He exhaled through his nose. Okay, fine. We made a mistake. But your sister needs that job. She needs that car. She doesn't even have the job yet. I shot back. You stole my money for a car she doesn't need. He leaned forward. Ethan, we don't have the money to pay you back. I froze. He sighed heavily. We thought we could, but things are tight. If you force us to sell the car, we'll lose money on it, and we still won't have enough. I stared at him. Then why the hell did you think it was okay? He didn't answer. He just sat there, looking miserable. For the first time, I could see the cracks in him. The fear. The regret. Not because he cared about what he had done to me, but because he realized he had backed himself into a corner. I sat back and crossed my arms. So what do you want from me? He swallowed hard. We need time. Just a few months. I'll figure something out and pay you back. I tilted my head. And I'm supposed to trust you after all this? Silence. Then he said something that sent a shiver down my spine. If you take this to court, we could lose the house. I blinked. What? The house is in bad shape financially, he admitted. Legal fees, forced repayment. It could put us over the edge. I stared at him. I knew my parents weren't rolling in money, but I didn't know it was that bad. For a brief second, I felt something close to guilt. Then I remembered what they had done to me. I took a slow breath. That's not my problem. His face fell. He had expected me to give in. I stood up. You have one option. Sell the car now and return whatever money you can. If you don't, I'll take this all the way and I don't care what happens to the house. His hands clenched into fists. Ethan, please. I walked out. I had given them an out. If they didn't take it, then whatever happened next was on them. I didn't hear from my dad after that meeting. No texts, no calls. Nothing. I figured he was scrambling, trying to figure out his next move. Then, 2 days later, my mom showed up unannounced at Emily's house. Her eyes were red, as if she'd been crying for days. She grabbed my hands. "Ethan, please, just drop it." I pulled away. "Did you sell the car?" She shook her head. "Your sister refuses." I laughed bitterly. "Then I guess we're done here." Tears rolled down her face. "You don't understand what you're doing. Your father is trying to refinance the house. If this goes to court, that's his problem." I interrupted. "Not mine," she sobbed. "But we're family." I just stared at her. "No, family doesn't steal from each other." She didn't have an answer. That night, my father finally called. His voice was tight. "We're selling the car." I exhaled. "Good. The dealership offered 20% less than we paid, but it's done." "That's not my problem," I said. He was silent. Then, finally, "We'll wire you the money tomorrow." The next morning I got the notice. $43,000 deposited. It wasn't all, but it was enough. Enough for me to cut my ties. I packed my bags, grabbed my essentials, and left my parents' house for good. Emily's family took me in without hesitation. Her dad even helped me set up a new bank account that my parents would never have access to. And just like that, I was free. A week later, my sister texted me. "I hope you're happy. We lost money because of you." I blocked her number. I wasn't just happy. I was finally at peace. After the money hit my account, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time: relief. It wasn't the full $55,000, but I had enough to move forward. I wasn't going to waste any more time on people who saw me as their personal ATM. The next day I cut the last cord. I went back to my parents' house one last time, not to argue, not to fight, but to get the rest of my stuff. When I walked in, my father barely looked at me. My mom tried to guilt me one last time. "We were only trying to help your sister." I didn't even acknowledge it. I packed my bags, grabbed my papers, and left without another word. A few weeks later, I made a down payment on an apartment. Smaller than I had originally planned, but mine. Truly mine. I didn't tell my parents. They found out through a relative and texted me. My dad sent a simple one: "Congratulations." But my mom? She wrote a paragraph about how family should stick together, and how one day I'd regret cutting it off. I left her to read. And my sister? She never got the job. Turns out she wasn't even the first choice, and they went with another candidate. So all that? The stolen money, the car, the drama? It was all for nothing. I heard she had to buy a used car with her own money. Poetic justice. I wasn't angry anymore. I had my life back. And most importantly, I'd learned a lesson I'd never forget: blood doesn't mean trust. And I'd never make the mistake of trusting her again.